Welcome to this explainer, where we're tackling the completely overwhelming world of newborn hygiene. Look, bringing a baby home is hands down one of the most beautiful experiences in life, but let's be real for a second, it's also terrifying. Suddenly everyone you've ever met has an opinion on how you should be doing things, and you're just caught in the middle. So this guide? This is dedicated specifically to you, the exhausted parent surviving on 2 hours of sleep and cold tea. We're going to cut right through the noise and give you a simple, practical, and incredibly easy-to-follow framework for caring for your baby, and just as importantly, caring for yourself.
Let's jump right in. And honestly, let's start with a massive sigh of relief. A baby does not need a perfectly sterile world. If you take literally nothing else away from this explainer, let it be that. You don't need to panic, and you definitely don't need to sanitize every single square inch of your home every 5 minutes. Basic, normal cleanliness is totally enough.
We really need to shift our entire mindset here. We are not trying to build a fearful, sanitized laboratory. We want a practical, realistic home. A totally sterile world is driven by anxiety and impossible standards. But a clean, safe, loving environment, that is something you can actually pull off. Good hygiene isn't about fear. It's just about creating a calm space where your newborn can grow safely.
So, here is our roadmap for the next few minutes. We'll be covering 1. Hands and visitors, 2. Feeding, diapers, and bathing, 3. Hidden hygiene around the house, and finally, 4. Caring for caregivers.
All right, Section 1. Hands and visitors. This is your very first line of defense.
Now, if there is an absolute golden rule of newborn care, it's proper hand washing, period. Because newborns are literally just booting up their immune systems, clean hands matter more than almost anything else. You really need to be washing up before touching the baby, before feeding, after diaper changes, and absolutely whenever you come in from outside. And the steps are simple but crucial. Use soap and water, wash for at least 20 seconds, really get in there between the fingers and under the nails, and dry with a clean towel. And hey, if you don't have soap handy, an alcohol-based sanitizer works perfectly fine too.
And that brings us to visitors. Look, everyone wants to meet the new baby, obviously. But setting these ground rules is simply responsible parenting. It's not you being disrespectful. Babies are incredibly vulnerable in those first few months, so ask visitors to wash their hands immediately when they walk in. Kindly request that they don't kiss the baby's face or hands. If they are sick, coughing, or even just getting over a fever, they should absolutely stay home. Try to avoid packing the house full of people and keep those initial visits pretty short and sweet. You know, you can actually memorize this exact polite phrase to say no and protect your child. Just say, "Baby is still very small, we're being extra careful for now." It's direct, it's polite, and it sets a super firm boundary. Remember, asserting these rules makes you a highly responsible parent, not a rude host.
Moving right along to Section 2, feeding, diapers, and bathing. Let's talk about the messy daily reality. Whether you're breastfeeding or bottle feeding, there's a specific simple rhythm to keeping your baby's meals safe. If you're breastfeeding, the milk itself is naturally protective, which is amazing. Just wash your hands before feeding, wear clean bras, change pads regularly, and keep yourself dry. You actually don't need to wash before every single feed, and definitely avoid harsh soaps or strong perfumes. Babies rely super heavily on recognizing their mother's natural scent. Now, if you're bottle feeding, it does require a bit more hands-on care. You've got to wash those bottles immediately with hot water and baby-safe soap, use a brush properly, sterilize them regularly, and let them air dry in a clean spot.
And here's why you can't slack on the bottles. Milk residue left inside becomes a bacteria party incredibly fast, literally a microscopic rave. Prompt cleaning and preparing formula safely is an absolute non-negotiable. Always prepare formula exactly as instructed, never reuse leftover milk from a previous feed, and don't just leave prepared formula sitting out on the counter.
Okay, diaper duty. Keeping this area clean and dry using a few specific techniques is going to save you from rashes, fungal infections, and major skin irritation down the road. Change diapers frequently. Never leave a baby sitting in a wet diaper. Use soft wipes or just warm water on cotton. Always pat the area dry very gently. Never rub it. For girls, always wipe front to back to prevent infections, and for boys, clean gently but thoroughly around all the little folds. Oh, and a great pro tip from our source, give them some diaper-free time occasionally to just let the skin breathe.
Now for bath time. Please, forget the daily bath myth. Newborns just don't get dirty the way adults do. We sweat and interact with a grimy world, so yeah, we need regular bathing. Newborns, not so much. Sponge baths, or just 2 to 3 short, lukewarm baths a week are completely sufficient at first. What you do need to focus on are those little hidden areas where milk and sweat like to collect. The neck folds, behind the ears, the thighs, and the underarms.
Clean and dry those specific spots gently, and you're good to go.
All right, Section 3, Hidden Hygiene. Let's expand our view and look around the house.
We're talking about monitoring those sneaky hygiene traps to protect their sensitive skin and little mouths. Always wash new clothes in a mild detergent before the very first use and skip the strong fragrances. Also, a super common mistake new parents make is leaving milk-soaked burp cloths just lying around on the couch. Trust me, that sour milk smell arrives way faster than you'd expect. When it comes to pacifiers and teething toys, keep them clean. And please, I know it's tempting when you're in a rush, but if a pacifier drops on the floor, never lick it to clean it before popping it back in your baby's mouth.
Like we said, your home doesn't need to smell like a hospital ward, but you should regularly wipe down the high-touch areas that we adults constantly handle. Feeding stations, changing tables, and bed sheets are pretty obvious. But don't forget the things you literally never put down: your phone, the TV remote, door handles. Basic, everyday cleanliness is the goal. Plus, keep your rooms well ventilated, keep smoke entirely away from the baby, obviously, and skip the heavy room sprays or incense for now. Okay, let's hit pause for a second, because we need to pivot to a question that almost everyone completely forgets in the absolute chaos of bringing a new baby home. What about you? What about the parents? Which brings us to our final part, Section 4, Caring for Caregivers, because your health matters too.
This is such a powerful reminder. A mother's physical recovery is absolutely just as important as the baby's care. Especially right after delivery, moms have got to focus on their own postpartum hygiene. That means changing pads regularly, washing gently with warm water, keeping any stitches clean, and wearing loose, breathable clothes. Rest whenever you possibly can, and always watch for warning signs like a fever, strong pain, unusual discharge, or a foul smell. If those happen, contact a doctor immediately.
And for the fathers and other caregivers, you cannot pour from an empty cup. It is essential that you also prioritize sleep, hydration, and bathing, because a deeply, profoundly tired parent can unintentionally become a careless parent. Caregivers, don't ignore your own basic human needs for clean clothes and a hot shower. A well-rested, healthy parent is just a fundamentally more effective caregiver.
And don't forget your mental hygiene. It's totally a real thing. Constant stress, shouting, and panic deeply affect everyone in the house. And yes, the baby absolutely picks up on it. A peaceful environment is vital. Try your best to speak calmly. Step away from that infinite scroll of internet advice that's just causing you unnecessary panic. If you're overwhelmed, ask for help. Take a break. It is 100% okay to hand the baby over and step out of the room for a minute just to breathe.
You know, letting go of this intense need to be perfect is actually a profound form of newborn care. You do not need to become perfect parents. You just need to be caring, aware, and consistent. The immense pressure to be flawless usually just leads straight to burnout.
So before we wrap up, let's do a quick reality check on 4 common, anxiety-driven traps that parents tend to overdo. First, over-sanitizing everything to the point where your house feels like a sterile lab. Second, using way too many fancy scented skincare products when babies really just need simple, mild care. Third, blindly listening to every piece of random advice from well-meaning relatives when it might not even be medically correct. And finally, the biggest trap of all, completely ignoring your own health.
I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought to reflect on today. Your baby remembers your love. They remember warmth, comfort, and touch. They are absolutely not going to remember if the baseboards were perfectly sterile. So, are you giving yourself the grace to actually enjoy this fleeting time? Babies are delicate, yes, but they're also a lot stronger than you think. Keep things reasonably clean, wash your hands, rest when you can, and just let yourself soak in the pure joy of this beautiful new chapter. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and we'll see you next time.